Hi, guys. Welcome to the weekly energy update for Saturday, March 5th through Friday, March 11th. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again for another week. We have another very interesting and really active cosmic week happening. There are a couple of days where we get the opportunity to integrate the energy, but even on those days where there aren't like big cosmic energy things happening on the outside, those moon transits are going to be a little quirky as well, if you will. So let's look real quick before I'm trying to think if I have any announcements. I hope you all have gotten the opportunity to watch the first episodes of all of our new content that we have. If you haven't had an opportunity to do that, we've got Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday up already. And we will have new episodes on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday as well, brand new content. So and it's all just amazing. If you haven't been able to catch any of it, take an opportunity. The videos, most of them are less than 20 minutes. So it doesn't even take up a lot of time to just kind of see. And they're so informational, like amazing. These people that are a part of this are really informational. So I hope you're all enjoying it. And I do have opening. I've had people ask me this. I do have openings on my March calendar. I am doing personal readings. I even have a 30-minute tarot reading and actually two 30-minute tarot readings that are at 2019 prices. So they're only $75 and they're both live. This is the last year I'm going to be offering monthly readings. So if you haven't had an opportunity to get a reading with me, now's the time to do it. I do also have astrology readings. Those are pretty low prices as well. So we can do full astrology, we can do solar returns, and the memberships are also available. I will be adding an astrology school tier to the memberships coming in April as well. And so I'll give you guys a little bit more on that as we get closer to it. But yeah, lots of really fun things happening. So it's a time to grow and it's a time to expand. So I hope you guys are all feeling that energy. Let's look at just kind of run through the days really quick. Just to kind of get like a run through of what's happening. So Saturday, we're going to have the Aries moon square Venus and Mars and the Jupiter Cazimi at 14 degrees. So Saturday, this weekend, just anyways, really big energy coming into the weekend. That Aries moon square Venus and Mars in Capricorn is probably going to be a little bit ratchet, to be quite honest. So just to be very careful, staying in your own lane is always a good thing to do and to say. But yeah, and this Jupiter Cazimi, that is just going to expand upon the energy of the day, what's happening that day. So we'll talk about that a little bit more, but that's that like right out the gate this weekend, you guys, we're just coming straight into some new energy right after that Pisces new moon. And that Pisces new moon was full of manifesting energy. I have been exhausted. I don't know about you guys during that Pisces new moon energy this week, but it was exhausting. And yeah, and the funny thing is it's exhausting, but I have not able to sleep. Just so much happening with that this week with all of this. So then Sunday we have the moon in Taurus conjunct Uranus, and we also have Venus ingressing to Aquarius. We have Mars ingressing to Aquarius, and we have Mercury square the node. So Venus will be in Aquarius until the 5th, Mars will be Aquarius until the 16th, and Mercury squaring the north node. People are going to be feisty this weekend, and Venus in Aquarius sort of has an air of not really caring. So, and Mars in Aquarius is just like, let's just get things done. Fixed focus, all this fixed focus that's happening on Sunday. So be careful of all those, the horns coming out. Like everybody's really going to have a lot of opinions and stuff like that. So careful of all of that stuff. Ooh. Hold on a second. Then we have Monday, Monday, March 7th. We have the moon in Taurus sextile the sun and Jupiter. The moon in Taurus will be trine Pluto on Tuesday and then going void. And so really with this Pisces energy, this very Piscean, very creative, very lots of, of that energy, there's just this massive amount of creativity that's coming out of March in really big ways. You will probably feel sleepy a lot, especially for those of you that are used to like go, 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 go. This Taurus moon is probably going to put a lot of us, like lulling a lot of us kind of to sleep during this Pisces season, especially when it goes void after it meets Pluto and then moves into Gemini early in the afternoon on Tuesday. That's going to be a palpable shift. We will feel that. And then the moon in Gemini will square Jupiter on Wednesday, and Mercury will ingress to Pisces on Mercury Day until March 27th. So that's going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting there. And then we have Thursday. Oh, wow, that's not the one I wanted. Remove yourself, thanks. Thursday, March 10th, the first quarter Gemini moon. We'll talk about what that first quarter Gemini moon just before the full moon in Virgo the following week. The first quarter Gemini moon will trine Saturn, square the sun and Neptune. And then on Friday, March 11th, we have the moon in Cancer trine Mercury in Pisces. So really working on that spark of creative energy. And this new moon in Pisces that we had, it's funny because at the same time we had the Mercury conjunct Saturn and we had the Mars conjunct Pluto, Mars and Venus conjunct Pluto. And I think the way that it came about with all of the healing that it brought to everybody was through the restrictions that it showed. And because there's this massive power play move that Mars had, joining with Pluto, and our self-esteem with Venus right there hanging out, the values that we hold in our self-esteem, our finances, man. If you haven't felt a strain on your finances, or if you haven't felt a way to have to shift your budget, you are one of the lucky ones during this Venus and Mars conjunction. But Venus will start to move away from Mars this week. After Venus and Mars ingress Aquarius, Venus starts to move away from Mars, and that's going to lighten up a little bit. We can actually start feeling, the sensual side of Venus again, instead of, and it's, really, it really wasn't so much a defensive Venus time. It was more of like assessment, right? Like really having, are my actions lining up with how I'm feeling? Are my actions lining up with my words? Are my actions lining up with what I'm doing with my life? Are my actions lining up with my values? Things like that. Like it wasn't really restrictive. It just asked a whole bunch of questions. At least that's how I felt, because we also just got out of the, Venus retrograde post shadow period. So now we're sort of seeing all of those lessons being integrated in our lives as we go through this Pisces new moon and prepare ourselves for the Virgo full moon, which is going to be very healing. Wherever it is sitting in your chart, it's going to be very healing. So let's look at the charts for the week, you guys. Reminds me later. Oh, you don't want to see me that big. All right. So we have Saturday, March 5th. We have the moon in Aries, feisty Aries. Just joined Chiron on Friday. So there's, we always, when we hit that Chiron, there's that wounded warrior healing, not wounded warrior. It's more like the fighting warrior kind of healing, but always fighting for ourselves under that Aries moon. So we have the moon in Pisces Aries, sextile Saturn and Mercury in Aquarius. Up here, Mercury is only 4 degrees away from Saturn at this point. And square will, the moon will also square Mars and Venus at the last degree. So Saturday will feel, I think that the ingress to Aquarius this weekend on Sunday is going to feel really like whoosh, everything's going to really lighten up. People will be very extra opinionated under this Aries moon. It's really best to focus on physical activities, like things to help to release your energy. Whatever it takes to help release your energy is going to be best to help focus. Whatever projects you have going on, this is going to be a great time to put your energy and focus into those projects as well. Spring cleaning might be a really big focus for you. The energy is beginning to feel more open after a time of feeling stagnant. And, you know, I mean, I don't know if you remember the release of everybody from the pandemic. Like once everybody, the first time the lockdowns were over, everybody came out and it was like just all this pent up aggression and pent up frustration and pent up, you know, everything just kind of exploded. And there was just people were acting foolish. People are still acting foolish in a lot of ways. Anywhere from, we had so many mass shootings at one point. There were a lot of that happening. And we see a lot of aggression on like airplanes and stuff too. So remember that this week, as we start to see this energy opening up more and more and more, and we get these opportunities to expand more, some people aren't going to know how to deal with it. Some people aren't going to understand the grounding part, to be grounded, right? And so there can be this really big overindulgence. There always is with Jupiter. Jupiter has those two sides to him, right? He can be very, very abundant, but he can also be very overindulgent too. If you're not utilizing the energy, you don't even need to know what's going on in the cosmos to understand how to utilize energy correctly. If you feel tense, if you feel frustrated and tense, don't put yourself in situations where you're going to argue. Stay off social media if that's a trigger. Like anything that's going to trigger you, you know, during this time while the energy's opening back up, you have to be aware. It's about taking accountability for yourself. Mars and Venus at the last degree of Capricorn, ingressing to Aquarius together. They will be conjunct at 0 degrees, moving into Aquarius together. It's going to happen early in the morning on the 6th, which is Sunday. So this is going to be bringing in a much lighter energy to this pair, to this conjunction. And then Venus will surpass Mars and move on her merry little way. Saturday, we also have the Jupiter Cazimi happening at 14 degrees. So if we really early in the morning, move back just right here, actually about 7, almost 8 o'clock Central Time. Maybe just a little bit earlier than 8 o'clock Central Time, be happening at 14 degrees. And there's, you know, this is going to come with a purification process. This is like Pisces season, heal us all time. This Jupiter with the sun, this is what the new cycle is looking like. This is how we recognize what's washing away, right? And what's clearing out in our space, so that we can see the amount of space that we have to start rebuilding and starting a whole new cycle. Jupiter's at home, and with the sun, he's being activated at his highest power available. This can actually show up for you by expanding yourself in education, spiritual pursuits, traveling, or anything that asks you to expand or to move outside of yourself and make yourself bigger. Parts of your life will be activated in order for you to grow in abundance. Be careful not to overindulge yourself. My hope is that with Mars and Venus coming into Aquarius, where Saturn has been trying to teach us all to live together a little bit easier, a little bit better. But with this Cazimi, my hope, this is a really big hope, because the moon is in Aries and things are going to be really, really feisty. But I'm hoping that this actually helps, that like something happens during while the moon is in Aries this weekend. And when the moon moves into Taurus, there can be peace talks happening because we'll have a softer energy, but it's going to be, it'll be something that would happen like after Jupiter. But I feel like this could usher in a little bit more peaceful energy. Mars in Aquarius is definitely going to be lighter. It's just a little bit more quirky and it's a little bit more out there. And so yeah, but it's definitely a big opportunity, I think, for the energy to move into a more peaceful setting. Hold on a second. I thought I had that on Do Not Disturb. Apparently I did not. That's pretty funny. We're finally starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel after a much needed time of restrictions and lessons. So even if we don't see the peace talks happening in the outside world, hopefully you see a little bit lighter energy in your own world as well. So Sunday on March 6th, we have Venus and Mars jumping into Aquarius. I bet that they can't get there fast enough, especially Venus. So the moon will be in Taurus, conjunct Uranus, ushering in new changes in what we value the most and what we want to focus on our value with the most. You may find that you want to learn new recipes or something while the moon is in Taurus, especially Venus is in Aquarius until April 5th. This is bringing freedom and liberty to your relationships with yourself, the relationships with the way you see art, with the relationships that in your life, and the relationships that you have with money and your career. So there's an energy, there's like this emotional, it's like a detachment kind of energy, but not in a detachment where you don't care. It's a detachment where things can happen the way that they're going to happen, and it's not going to like ruin your life or whatever, depending on however that happens. So there's going to be a really fixed focus when it comes to love and romance. It's not going to be this thing where you have to live in a box or where you have to be in a box, but it can be like a much more a different kind of perspective. The Venus and Aquarius can give everybody a different kind of perspective, a more freedom loving sort of perspective when it comes to all relationships, not even just the romantic ones in your life, but again, like how you see yourself with money, and just wherever this Venus and Aquarius is transiting your chart, you're going to see, a more eclectic relationship that you have with things. Mars in Aquarius happens on March 6th until April 16th. This is going to make us a little bit more confident and rebellious. This transit may give a lot of restless energy. The creative pursuits will hopefully prove prosperous, but that's the focus. With Mars in Aquarius, it's more about being creative, and it's thinking outside of the box creative. So you may find yourself doing new projects, like doing new things with your projects that you wouldn't normally do, or even want to try new things. There's a lot of times people want to expand their knowledge while Mars is in Aquarius, but like a lot of you could, for some reason, I keep thinking rock climbing. Like I feel like somebody's going to learn how to rock climb or something like that with Mars in Aquarius, but it's something that you wouldn't normally do. You would probably take a little bit, you're being a little bit more open-minded about the things that you can do. This can also show you where you may need to employ some more freedom and space with romantic partnerships. Mars in Aquarius is very much an individual. You cannot tell a Mars in Aquarius who to be. They're going to be, I know this adorable little Mars in Aquarius boy, and he just wears the most off the wall clothes, and he picks it all. He's like 5 years old, I think. And he picks all of his own clothes, and you can be sure that they are not going to disappoint because it's very out there, but it's so cool. And we have Mercury squaring the North Node. So really be careful of the words that you're saying. Words can manifest very easily into new lessons for you to have in your life. Like maybe you say things that you regret. We don't want that happening. So let's take a look at Monday, March 7th. The moon will be in Taurus, sextile Jupiter, and the sun both. So after a Sunday of joining with Uranus, the moon now settles down a little bit and will sextile Jupiter and will sextile the sun. Still very close to that conjunct phase. So this is really giving, it's more giving a soft creativity. I actually think that if you get a lot of things done over the weekend, then Monday might be that day where you're just a little bit more tired than usual. It's also the moon's day, but the Venetian moon coupled with the soft Pisces sun and exuberant Jupiter will make for a really beautiful start to the week, if not more daydreamy than anything else. So you may even find yourself sort of fantasizing throughout the day on Monday. I think that the only way that it can be super, super hard on you is if you don't allow yourself to fantasize, if you don't allow yourself to look at all the really cool and fun things about life and, you know, manifest from a bigger place, imagine bigger things, stuff like that. If you don't allow yourself to do that, of course, you're going to feel frustrated. So give yourself that opportunity to manifest bigger. On Tuesday, we have March 8th, we have the moon in Taurus trine Pluto. So the moon in Taurus joined the North Node overnight and will trine Pluto in Capricorn before going void. So once, let's see, oh, and will square Mercury as well, Mercury in Aquarius and Pluto in Capricorn before going to void, and then ingressing to Gemini later on in the afternoon. So it's really going to be easy to feel the energy lighten up after the moon joins Pluto. After the moon's been void all this time, the energy will automatically lighten up as the moon in Gemini trines Venus almost automatically. So let's move forward through the day a little bit. Oops, went a little too far. We see the moon in Gemini up here and will trine Venus immediately. And so everything's going to feel a lot lighter. We'll also trine Mars as well. And with a Gemini moon, as usual, people are going to be pretty chatty. And I kind of grimace with that because it's like, it's really funny how people can tell on themselves sometimes. So really pay attention to the way that people tell on themselves. One of the things that I wanted to talk about with the Venus and Mars in Aquarius is while Venus and Mars are both in Aquarius, they're going to square Uranus in Taurus, and they're going to join Saturn. And this is creating a lot of changes in our relationships for long-term gains. But this also means that this can come through as like a massive restructuring in your life, especially with that Mars squaring Uranus and trine Saturn. And this is, and it's for long-term gains, but that means that the things that you say especially with Mercury trine North Node, or Mercury square the North Node, Mercury square the North Node on Sunday. The things that you're saying right now in your relationships, the things that you're saying to yourself, the things that you're saying are doing even and taking action on can really have long-term effects on what's happening down the road, as really everything does, but a lot of stuff right now can do that. So, just be really careful when it feels like it's easy to be a little bit extra chatty. just be careful about like what you're saying and that you're not like hurting other people's feelings. This can be very mean girl energy after a time of feeling super, super restricted. So I just don't want, and I'm not saying that Gemini moons are mean girls. That is not my intent. That is not what I was saying. I'm just saying with all of the other pressure that's going on, lightened times can often be like the bulls coming right out of the gate. So you got to kind of give the energy a little bit of time to chill out with all of this, again, opening up. The moon will trine Venus and Mars in the evening. Find new ways to express how you feel about the one you love. The most outrageous way that you express yourself, the better. People are really going to go above and beyond to express themselves. I can't wait to see what all of these like dance, like when they ask people to prom or ask people to the dances, that'll be really fun. Interesting to see those signs. Yeah, they've just gotten so much, like they've evolved throughout the years. Like when I was younger, it was just this dude walking up to me being like, hey, you got a date for the dance? All right, let's go. Nowadays, like they get the sign or they like make it a whole thing. So I'll be interested to see that as the energy lightens up a little bit. So now we have Wednesday, March 9th. We have the moon in Gemini square Jupiter and Mercury in Pisces. So this really has you creatively making plans for the future. This week is going to be a really good time to start planning all of those things that you want to bring to fruition in Aries season. The equinox is coming up. The Virgo full moon is coming up. When we get that equinox energy and everything is balanced and we're moving into springtime and it's really time to start to plant those seeds that we want to see harvested by the end of the year. That's what this energy is going to be doing for us. So Mercury in Pisces until March 27th and that's when they'll ingress to Aries. So Mercury is going to ingress to Pisces on Wednesday in the evening. So it'll be at 29 degrees. It may be kind of difficult to get things done, to be quite honest, with that 29th degree Mercury in Aquarius, or you might feel rushed to get things done. Mercury in Pisces until March 27th. This is going to be a time of fantasy, daydreams. May feel like things have slowed down a little bit. Logic sort of goes out the window when it comes to Mercury in Pisces. Many artists have this placement because of the beauty that comes from this transit. Mercury in Pisces is an amazing transit to have. If hopefully you have other placements too, like Earth placements with the Mercury in Pisces is always good to have as well. But a lot of artists, a lot of writers, a lot of musicians, a lot of singers and songwriters have Mercury in Pisces. This transit will be really great with creative pursuits, meditating, looking for spiritual pursuits. We're all a little bit more psychic and in tune when Mercury is in Pisces. So this may be a time where you're really starting to focus more on being more mindful or being more aware, or, the spiritual journey is really just about connecting with yourself. That's really all that the spiritual journey is. So that may be something that you're really looking forward to. Then we have Thursday, the 10th. Let's go back a little bit. We have the moon in Gemini square the sun. So the moon in Gemini square this Neptune and the sun actually. And we'll trine Saturn here at 19 degrees. Big opinions from people. Be careful not to get caught up in all of the gossip. And this Gemini moon is at the first quarter moon phase just before the Virgo moon happens on the 18th of March. So in a couple of weeks, we're going to be seeing, just a week from Thursday, basically 8 days from Thursday, there will be the Virgo full moon. And the first quarter moon phase means that when you feel like this is not a time to take a pause, this is a time to be strong in your convictions. This is a time not to waver when it comes to taking action on things. This is a time to move forward with your manifestations. If you kind of like have those hiccups and you feel a little, you don't really feel confident in doing that, then you may want to wait until after the full moon and allow yourself to release those things again. But yeah, this is really, this first quarter moon is giving all of this, that boost to push ourselves forward with all the manifesting that we did with the new moon in Pisces. So then when we get to the Virgo full moon, we can harvest it all and make room and space and clear out things that we need to. Then on Friday, March 11th, we will have the moon in Cancer. Love a moon in Cancer during Pisces season. The moon in Cancer will trine Mercury in Pisces, a watery, watery day full of creativity. You may find yourself wanting to isolate because of that moon in Cancer. You know how Cancer's, it's the crab, right? You want to like stick yourself into that crab. Use this time to lean into the soft energy instead of forcing the things to look logical. Now is the time to trust your intuition and the path towards something better. Really trusting your inner guide, that inner journey guide. I'm just like the Pisces season, right? The fish and the guide. But with that Cancer moon, it's going to make us a little bit extra emotional. So be super cautious of that as well. But this is really sure to be an amazing week of opening the energy up and showing us where Pisces season is here to create the healing passageways, to create the healing pathways. So I really urge you guys to pay attention to what the universal signs that are being shown to you, and stay open, stay vulnerable. Don't be so shut down. You can tell where you need to restrict your energy. You can tell who's here for you and who's just waiting until you're faltering. So be extra, extra careful. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me for another week on the Love and Science channel. I love you. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you next time. Bye.